We tend to think of great authors, especially spiritual ones, as these perfect fountains of wisdom. But what happens when the writer of some of the world's most important scriptures feels, well, completely empty inside? Today we're diving into the incredible story behind the Shrimad Bhagavatam. Not just what it teaches, but the very personal crisis that led to its creation. And it all starts with this mystery, this paradox. You have a person who is at the absolute peak of success, both as a writer and as a spiritual leader, but he feels this deep, nagging sense of dissatisfaction. This wasn't just him having an off day, this was a crisis of the soul.
So let's meet our main character. This is the great sage Vyasa, a true heavyweight, a literary and spiritual giant in ancient India. And his resume, to say it's intimidating is an understatement.
Just think about the sheer scale of his work for a second. He organized the foundational knowledge for an entire civilization, taking the one Veda and splitting it into four, writing the massive Mahabharata. These are pillars of human thought. He did everything right, followed every rule, checked every box. And yet, something was fundamentally missing. He felt this profound emptiness, as if the whole point of his life's work had just slipped through his fingers.
Okay, so to really understand the answer he was missing, we need to kind of zoom out for a minute, because at this exact same time, a huge gathering of sages had come together in a forest called Naimisarjana, and they weren't just there to hang out. They were grappling with the biggest questions imaginable on behalf of all of us.
Their search for a universal remedy, a way to actually heal the suffering they saw all around them, came down to 6 absolutely essential questions. And just look at these questions. They are not small talk. They cut right to the core of everything. Our purpose, our meaning, our relationship with the divine. They were asking about the ultimate good, the very essence of all knowledge. These questions were basically creating this perfect space, this spiritual vacuum, for the exact kind of knowledge the world desperately needed. And it turns out, the very knowledge that Vyasadeva hadn't written yet.
So just as Vyasadeva is sitting there, totally bummed out by his own success, his spiritual teacher, the incredible celestial sage Naradamuni, shows up. And Narada, he's like a master spiritual doctor. He takes one look and knows exactly what the problem is.
And this slide just nails his diagnosis. Narada basically tells him, look, your work is technically perfect, but it's soulless. It lacks devotion. He compares it to a pilgrimage for crows. A place where crows might gather, full of noise and activity, but with zero real spiritual substance. But then he says that even a book that's written imperfectly, if it's full of genuine love and devotion, can spark a revolution in people's hearts.
So here's the bottom line. Vyasadeva had written all about the rules, about duty, wealth, desire, even liberation. He wrote the ultimate instruction manual for life. But in focusing so much on the rules, he forgot to really describe the personal, loving, all-attractive nature of the Supreme Lord. He'd written the rulebook, but he left out the love story. And to really drive this point home, Narada doesn't just give him a lecture. No, he offers up the most powerful piece of evidence you can imagine, his own unbelievable life story. It's the ultimate case study in the power of pure devotion.
This is just an incredible journey. In his last life, Narada was the son of a maidservant. No status, no education, nothing. But by a twist of fate, he gets this chance to serve some great holy men. And simply by listening to them talk and by eating the leftovers of their spiritual food, his entire consciousness was transformed. That one small act of loving service, what's called bhakti, was so powerful it led to him having a direct vision of God. And then, in his very next life, he's reborn as the celebrated universe-trotting sage we see now. Vyasadeva is completely inspired. The path forward is now crystal clear. He takes Narada's advice to heart, sits down in deep meditation, and what he sees next, it changes everything. He gets this complete, almost holographic vision of all of reality. First, he saw the source of everything, the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna, in all his glory, the ultimate, all-attractive spiritual truth. Then he saw what was working in the background, Maya, the powerful, bewildering material energy. This is the force that creates illusion and keeps us tangled up in this world. And finally, he saw the individual soul. He saw you. He saw me. He saw us, caught in the middle of it all, struggling under Maya's influence, forgetting who we really are.
But here's the crucial part. He didn't just see the problem, he saw the solution with perfect clarity. He saw that the direct remedy, the way out of this struggle, was bhakti yoga, the path of pure devotional service. This was the exact thing Narada was talking about, the very thing that turned a servant's boy into a great sage. It was the bridge across the ocean of illusion.
So Vyasadeva took this whole vision, the Lord, the illusion, the soul, and the divine remedy, and he compiled it into his final, greatest work, the Shrimad Bhagavatam. It's called the mature fruit because it contains the sweetest, most essential juice of all the knowledge he'd ever written before. This was the missing chapter. This was the masterpiece that finally brought peace to his own heart. And that brings us to this final, really powerful idea. The Bhagavatam isn't just seen as a book. It's considered a literary incarnation of God. Think about that. The story of an author trying to cure his own spiritual emptiness ended up creating a text meant to be the cure for everyone. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What if the answer to our deepest suffering isn't just an abstract idea, but a story that's just waiting for us to hear it?